Well, greetings from Bishop Fenwick, and welcome to this edition of Tuesdays with Tom. Yesterday I had the distinct pleasure of joining the class of 1964 for their 60th reunion from Bishop Fenwick. What an awesome group. They were the second graduating class ever to come from Bishop Fenwick. And I asked them at the end of their luncheon, I said, do you have any advice for high school students today? And some of that advice is shared in the text of this communication. I want to highlight one piece of advice. A woman stood up and offered this piece of wisdom. 3 words. Trust your gut. Trust your gut, she said. Sometimes trusting your gut means exploring a new passion or trying a new activity. Maybe sometimes trusting your gut means knowing to walk away from a difficult situation or maybe get out of a bad relationship. Sometimes trust your gut means whether or not to say something or to not say something, right? I think she meant it, though, in the sense of follow your conscience, do the right thing, trust your gut. So 2 stories of people who did exactly that. One, in the fall of 1981 at St. Joe's Parish in Lynn, the pastor there, Father Lawson, and a woman working with Catholic Charities here in Peabody, Nancy, they met at a seminar. And Nancy explained to Father Lawson this really disturbing experience she had of being in our area and walking by a small group of homeless men who were trying to use a campfire to heat 2 cans of beans. Well, within a year, they were serving meals. They talked about how to address that concern and what became known to us today as My Brother's Table was born. They have now been open 13,000 consecutive days, 1 million free meals last year, 1 million. And Nancy who started it? That's Nancy Ryan, beloved grandmother of our own Hannah, whose Fenwick Connect speech was about her grandmother this morning. Nancy, the grandmother also, Joe, class of 20, and Maria, class of 23. She followed her gut. And then a smaller and yet significant story of someone else here who followed his gut. So right out there at Donaldson Stadium early today, we hosted Andre Tippett. Yeah, Andre Tippett of the Pats. He came out to make a special presentation to Coach Woods. And we had the senior cheerleaders come out and the captains, and we also had the senior football players and the captains come out. And they were part of the video and the photography and part of the presentation. And then they all kind of were going back to class. And the football players said, "Oh, it was great to see you, Mr. Tippett." And Mr. Tippett said, the pleasure was all mine. And they started turning away. I would turn, but if I do, the mic is going to go off. And so they started kind of just walking away a little bit. And one young man, to his great credit, he trusted his gut. And something inside him said, no, this is not the right way to say goodbye. And he walked up to Mr. Andre Tippett and he shook his hand and he said, "Thank you, sir, for being at Bishop Fenwick." And maybe unbeknownst to this young man, I'm going to give him a shout out, Dylan Patarelli. Maybe unbeknownst to Dylan, all his teammates lined up right behind him. What an example he set, and what an amazing thing that they followed. And they each shook Andre Tippett's hand. Small thing. Do the right thing. Matters. People notice, and people follow. Trust your gut, and have a great week. Take care.